G'day guys. Probably wondering, why am I sitting down at a computer? Well, that's because I'm going to start here with the basic beginner's guide to all things drone fishing. Now, why am I the right person to teach you about this? That's because I myself am a beginner. So I'm going to show you what I did and how I started out learning drone fishing. So hopefully you can learn from my mistakes rather than make your own. Now, I need to say straight away, when you put me into the realm of guys like One Drop Cartel, Robbie from Perth Fishing Safaris, and some of these other drone fishing lads, I'm not even a drop in the pond. In fact, they're probably going to watch some of this and go, you're doing this, this, and this wrong. But that's not what this is about. This is about showing you guys, if you went and bought your drone, where I'd start with finding your first ever spot about drone fishing. Now, after I've covered how I find my spots drone fishing, we're going to take you down to the beach and we're going to show you how to use your drone. The drone we're going to be using for this video is going to be a Swell Pro Splash Drone 3. Okay, now it's a drone, we've used a few, so we've used the Phantoms, the Copters, I've seen Mavics used. So far, I'm fairly impressed with this Swell Pro. There are some things I don't like, but that's going to be in another video. But instead of me keep babbling on about what we're going to do and what we're not going to do, let's get down to what I do to find a spot. Now, the best thing about finding spots is that the programs I use are completely free. So as you can see on this screen here, we've got Google Earth, and then on this screen here, type into your Google browser, Navionics web app. Now, if you type in the Navionics web app, you're going to get all your Navionics charts for the whole of the West Australian coast. You are not going to get coordinates, but that's not overly necessary when you're doing what we're doing, okay? Because remember, we're flying drones from a beach and we're not looking to put a boat directly on top of the lump. So I don't know how clearly you can see these screens, and I hope they're okay, but I'm gonna quickly, roughly run you through what I do. So what I do is I open up my web apps, okay? Once they're open, I need to think about what gear am I using, what drone am I using, and how far do I want my drops to be. Now, I limit my drops to probably 350 meters from 400 at a stretch. My favorite depth of water to drop into is going to be roughly that 5 to 7 meters with a bommy in the near. Now, I don't drop my baits on top of the bommy, I drop them around the bommy, okay? So what I've got here is I've got an area that anyone familiar with this area is going to know exactly where it is, okay? If not, jump on and have a look for it if you really want. This is a productive area. I'll tell you now, this actually is quite a productive area if you find it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to bring up my Navionics web app. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at, up the coast, I'm going to look for my 5 meter or my sweet spot water. Okay, and then I'm going to look for little tiny lumps that are in A, my distance from shore, and B, in my little, my little sweet spot if you like. And also keep in mind, you've got to consider your travel. So here I'm looking around the Lancelin area. There you go, there's your first tip. I've found this perfect little spot here. So we can see all in here, we've got 5 meters of water, and I've found a tiny little lump here, which is 3.7 meters deep. Okay, now, while looking at the Navionics app, this may not look like much to most people. So then we come over onto our Google Earth here, and this is where Google Earth comes in. Two things, but I'll run through them later. The first thing is we're gonna work out what does the ground look like from a satellite view. Now, Google Earth doesn't really give you too much detail on the whole coast, but some parts you get quite clear satellite image. So this is pretty bloody good. So what I can see here is I've got a really shallow reef here, which is this one. Then I can see that there's a reef here with a name, which does show up down here. But this little lump here is referenceable to this bit here. Now, you don't want to drone straight on top of a break. You don't want to do that. So what I'm going to suggest is we start by measuring. How do we know where we're at? So you can use either your ruler on here, or you can use your ruler on your Navionics web app. I prefer the Navionics web app ruler. So I simply drag my little pins to roughly where I'd be drone fishing from, drag the second pin to the inner edge of the bommy. Now keep that in mind, the inner edge. Why do I choose the inner edge? Well, that's simply because I don't want to choose this outer edge, because if I hook up a fish on the outer edge, I've got to bring it back over that structure. And chances are you're going to lose the fish every time. On the inner edge, they'll all be coming around that inner edge majority of the time anyway, so then you're going to be pulling them straight away from your structure. So if I look in between this 3 meter mark and then the lump, which is also 3 meters, I've got a 5 meter channel, which is at 380 meters off the shore. So it's right on the edge of where I like droning, but it'll do. I then go from there and then I use the second advantage of Google Earth. I zoom out on Google Earth and I work out my tracks in it and how am I going to be able to utilize these tracks to find my spot. What I know from here is that I can pretty much jump on the beach at Back Beach Lancelin and I can come back down to this spot because it's not very far and I've got a pretty clear beach. But what this also shows me is that I've got no fringing reef along the beach. So should I get that beautiful big snapper or even a dewey or whatever it may be, I know I'm going to be able to beach that with not much problems. So guys, as you can see, the way I find my spots is fairly basic, okay? The other way I've seen guys doing it is, of course, just driving the coast with a mobile phone up on their dash and that runs satellite images as they're driving. And that way they can sort of see what's directly in line with the car, and sure, that's fine. But guys, with On Point, I'm not going to lie, we run a pretty busy lifestyle between On Point and work. So I don't have time to be scooting coasts for a day at a time just trying to find a spot. So this gives me the upper hand as soon as I leave my front door. Guys, that's going to be the first part of the beginner's guide to drone fishing, and I really hope that by utilizing these two basic web features, you can also do the same to find your spot and be confident that when you leave that house, you're looking for the structure. And keep in mind there's structure all around this anyway. I mean, we can see here, just quickly I'll touch on it, 2.2 meters, 1.3, so they're very shallow bommies. Pretty much this whole fringe that runs here, as we can see here, is running fringe here. So it's all fishable. Now, just a quick other thing that I'll mention, I'm going to mention it again later on in the video. Don't drop your baits on top of reef, you don't need to. Snapper do not mind swimming straight through the sand to find a good bit of feed. In fact, I found my #1 bait, which once again I'm going to touch on later, is whiting. And whiting don't bloody scoot on top of reefs. They're in the open on the sandiest bottoms they can find a lot of the time. So keep that in mind when you're chasing your snapper. Your bait, for argument's sake, are on the sand. That means the snapper are going to be on the sand at points, okay? So anyway, the next thing I'm going to see you will be on the beach. Right guys, so we're down at that spot that I showed you on the computer. Now, just a little bit to the south there, we've actually got some cray pots there, which was a fantastic sign. Just out there is that really shallow reef I showed you, and it's because it's such a low swell today, isn't it, Cam, that it's not breaking.
That's it. Perfect.
So what I'll do is, we're only here for like at half an hour up our sleeves takes. We're heading further up. But I'll quickly just show you a clip now of Cameron and what he pulled off the spot. Here it is.
drone fishing for snapper on LV gear. Not sure if that's been done before, but at some point we make that happen. Scott will just get the fish and bring it in. It's only a wee one, but it's better than nothing. More weed than anything else. All right. Good job. Check that out, guys. Little snapper on LV. What more could you want in life, eh?
A bigger one.
A bigger one, yeah, that's it. Gotta love it. We'll get this bad boy put back in the water and hopefully get its big brother.
So as you can see there from that little snapper Cam got, this spot here already holds huge potential.
That's it. And it was good fun.
It was a bit of fun.
And it was very easy to jump online to find that spot, and it made it a bit more enjoyable.
Most certainly did. You generally find, guys, when you find your own spots, it's so much more rewarding when they pay off because you haven't fed off someone else's hard work. So guys, I recommend you get on there and have a go. And look, if you're new to drone fishing, don't be frightened to find this spot and have a go yourself, just to get a feel of what you're looking for in the conditions, eh, Cam?
That's it.
Well, I reckon we wrap that up because we've got some kilometres to do.
We do indeed.
Tailor fishing tomorrow morning, potentially. We don't know. We'll see what it comes. But yeah, as I said, we got some miles to burn, so we're going to leave you to it. I'm glad we could quickly show you the spot that we were showing you on the PC and put it into real life, and we pulled a fish off it.
That's it. If you guys got any questions or queries, just comment below and we'll endeavour to get them all answered for you.
Beautiful.
That's it. We'll see you on the next adventure, guys.
No worries. Catch you later.
Catch you later.